I'm Sherry Jonas, and this is Launch, a podcast for parents of adult children in their 20s and 30s who are struggling to launch independently into adulthood. And just so there's no confusion, I am referring to young adults who are fully capable of living responsible, productive, purposeful lives, but are having a hard time getting there. This podcast serves to help parents strengthen the relationship and learn what their young adult really needs so they can thrive in the world. A quick announcement before we dive into today's topic. My parenting course is officially open for registration. However, if you want to get things started before the holidays and would prefer a more intimate learning experience, I'm offering a small group session that starts on December 1st at a one-time only promotional price. All the details are in the show notes, and I do hope to see you there. Today's conversation is an important one. If your young adult is socially withdrawn, struggles to make connections, or feels anxious about developing friendships, this episode can offer you hope and a solution. I'm speaking with Mara McLoughlin about the importance of learning social skills, why they matter so much for confidence and independence, and what you can do to help your young adult. Mara is the founder and program director of IRL Social Skills. She is a highly respected speech-language pathologist with more than 15 years of experience helping autistic teens and young adults communicate, connect, and express themselves. In 2021, Mara and her team developed this specialized program to help individuals of all ages develop the social skills they need to build real-world connections and experience a true sense of belonging. Let's get started. Hi, Mara.
Hi, Sherry.
Thank you for joining me on Launch today.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
I really do love your work. And I am so appreciative of the service that you're providing people who really do need help with their social skills, especially because there's not a lot of resources or services out there. So I think what you're doing is incredible.
Oh, thank you. And you're right. There is a real dearth of services. Most people want to work with the little kids, but you get to the teen years, services decrease, and then at adult years, forget about it. Like there's just barely anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy to provide services for those who really need them.
So for the mom and dad
Mm-hmm.
who has never heard of your amazing program, why don't you begin by telling us about IRL Social Skills and what motivated you to start it?
Yeah, so IRL Social Skills stands for in real life. And I'm a speech language pathologist. I have specialized in autism since grad school in 2009. And I was working with non-speaking autistic students, getting them a functional way to express themselves. But I noticed these ones over here, right? These ones who could speak, who were perhaps doing well academically. They weren't a behavior problem. There were no academic concerns. But they were struggling socially.
Mm.
And those were the ones I worried about, the like invisible ones, the ones that needed support that would help them have a rich life.
I like that.
And they weren't getting it.
So is there a particular type of individual that you work with? Because I'll be honest, I think most people could benefit from learning social skills.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I launched in March of 2021 during the pandemic because we had all felt the impact of social isolation.
Right.
And those who were already struggling socially, autistic, ADHD, otherwise neurodivergent, those were the ones that were felt the impact the most, right?
Right.
So I launched with 5 families from Hawaii to New York and even Canada. And since then we've served, 500 families and really the profile is, average to above average intelligence, struggling socially. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like super cool, but haven't been able to find the people with whom they belong.
Right.
Yeah, and to be able to like deploy the skills to maintain those relationships once they have found them.
Right. So again, just so the audience, the listener is understanding, are these in-person social skills learning classes or virtual?
They are virtual, live, it's still face to face, it's still interbrain connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
And um we like, does this work? Yeah, it does. How do you know? Because we look to the data.
Right.
And I've been assembling data for the past almost 5 years now to be able to answer that question. And the data is from different assessments, both standardized and non-standardized, as well as from the transcripts of
Mm-hmm.
the recordings that I've had analyzed by a data analysis company. And it's been really like heartening to see what the data shows. And I'll give you an example. The word most used in over 3 years of transcripts was connection.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
So, what is the age range that that you offer your program to? You said it's not really kids, right? So, where does it start?
Yeah, at age 11, middle school,
Okay.
which is ground zero for social,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
People are these teens, they're going through like such a huge transformation, from childhood into adolescence.
Mm-hmm.
And they are trying to find out where they belong,
Mm-hmm.
who they are, really. They're
Right.
establishing their identity.
Right. So it's fair to say that you don't actually have to be on the spectrum to benefit from your program.
No, absolutely. I mean, oftentimes people are, they don't have any kind of diagnosis or identification, but they're still like not able to make friends. Or I hear this a lot, they can make friends,
Mm.
but they can't keep them.
Oh, I hear that a lot.
Yeah. Hmm.
I hear that a lot.
For whatever reason, you know, usually there is something, right? But it's like social media, kind of what I call anti-social media,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not teaching them the skills of real world social interaction and how to maintain those connections,
Right.
how to, repair ruptures after a fight, how to be a good guest, how to be a good host of
Yeah.
get-togethers. Parents are moving, along the trajectory themselves. Parents are in their own development as parents, right? Like, oh, it went from like setting up play dates to like you can't do that. They're too old for that, but they still need support, right? With the executive functioning skills of like, making the plan, following up, preparing
Mm-hmm.
for this. And then afterwards, like, oh, hey, I had a really good time. We should do that again, right? The things that we do as adults, there's a lot of steps. And we still need to like usher our teens and young adults through those steps. And it's a lot.
Yeah. I think that many parents assume that their children or young adults just know how to communicate or connect with others, and that the social skills are something that their kids are just going to pick up along the way. But the fact is that social skills are not naturally intuitive, and although some aspects of social behavior are picked up through modeling, many of these skills we rely on in relationships, they have to be taught and practiced. And I'm
Mhm.
guessing that's exactly what you do.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is direct, explicit instruction in reciprocal conversation skills, right?
Yeah.
Ask a question, ask a follow-up question, answer your own question, make a comment, ask open-ended questions. Small talk is big talk.
Love
When
that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, people are
Lo-
like, oh, I hate small talk, but it is, you have to start somewhere, right?
yeah.
Everyone starts somewhere. any
Yeah.
relationship that you've ever had started with small talk.
100%. That's
Yeah.
very cool. Small talk is big talk.
Mhm. And
Um,
then, teaching like effective use of humor. Our participants know that like, humor is attractive and it is also the fastest way to turn people off, right?
oh, explain that.
Well, it's like, okay, people like laughing is one of the ways we get through life, right? And and it is magnetic, people like to be around people who make them laugh, because
Hmm.
it activates, the vagus nerve. It gives a sense of well-being to your physical body.
Yes.
And and so our teens and young adults, they pick up on that, and then they're like, oh, I got to be the class clown, in order to like make people like me. But it's hard to be a comedian. They get paid the big bucks. It is really an art form,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
don't have to be the comedian. You can like appreciate, humor, and you can inject levity, but you don't have to be that class clown. There's a
Yeah.
better way. You can
Yeah.
like trade information and find common interests, which form the foundations of friendships.
Hmm. So
And
what, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to even say, even romantic relationships. How do you be more than friends, right? Unless you're friends first.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So I guess you're getting young adults coming to you at that stage of their lives too, where they're saying, I'm ready to start dating
Mhm.
and meeting the, same sex, opposite sex, but I don't know how. And
Yeah.
is that some of the issues? I'm trying to figure out some of the issues. Oh, let's put it this way, because this was my question. What are some of the red flags or warning signs that a
Oh,
parent should watch out for to know that their young adult or child or teen or whatever age is really struggling to connect?
red flags are they're not doing anything with peers in person. Okay. They're like, oh, I have friends. They're all online. Are they really your friends? Are they going to like be there for you when you are sick?
Yeah.
Um, they're not invited to things. They're not invited to sleepovers. They're not invited to parties. They are, shunned, excluded, ostracized. Maybe they're not telling you that they're being bullied, but you know, an indirect form of bullying is that exclusion.
Of course.
It's super painful. And parents oftentimes, I mean, that's a pain point for parents, because they're like, oh, my child, who is amazing, doesn't have any friends. And they are kind of retreating more and more into like an online space because they need to find belonging, right? I
Yeah.
mean, humans need to belong. Our survival literally depends on other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And when they don't have that, they're in a world of hurt. Um, and there's oftentimes, I mean, when you are peer rejected, socially isolated, shunned, excluded, ostracized, there are mental health conditions that arise,
Definitely. Yeah.
depression, anxiety, suicidality. And what helps is having people in your life who get you,
Yeah.
and to be able to nurture those relationships. And that's really just the name of the game, something that happens in person, like once a week, once every 2 weeks, where you can keep the vibe alive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
takes time. You wish you could just like make best friends overnight, but it takes time.
It does.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely, as humans, we're wired for connection,
Mhm.
but we're not wired to automatically understand, social rules and cues and tones. All that stuff really has to be taught to us. That's why I think what you're doing is fantastic because I really believe that, especially if a parent is not that comfortable themselves socially, but they've made it through and they found their little tribe, that it's even harder for them to teach social cues and tone and things like that to their young adult because they themselves aren't that comfortable. So that service that you're providing, I keep saying it because I really believe it. It is it should be taught in school. It's,
It should.
right? It should be
Yeah,
taught in school.
it should be
Um,
taught in school. And anybody can, write a social skills program. Anybody can teach social skills, but does it work
yeah.
in real life? And oftentimes, that when we think social skills, like sometimes people think like it's like etiquette and like social niceties. But
Mm,
really, what it is about at the end of the day is building and maintaining community.
yes.
And yeah, we have, the apple doesn't fall far, right? We'll have neurodivergent parents. I mean, there's a strong genetic component to neurodivergence. And they're like, oh, I don't know how to teach this because I'm not very good at this.
Yep.
Firstly, you can have a neurotypical quote unquote parent who has a neurodivergent child, and they're like, what? It's really easy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
the problem is just go up and introduce yourself. Just
Sure.
go out there and make
Sure.
friends.
It's really easy.
It's not that easy. Soft skills are hard skills. Yeah.
Define soft skills, because somebody said that on another episode, and I should have asked them to define soft skills versus hard skills, because a lot of my guests are experts in their field, and we use terminology that I want everyone to understand. So if you don't mind, soft skills.
Yeah, soft skills are everything that's not a technical skill, okay, which are hard skills. Soft skills, like being able to, um, you know, have conversations, to be
Yeah.
able to initiate conversations, to be able to enter conversations, to be able to, um, have emotional regulation, emotional like sobriety,
Mm-hmm.
which, really co-regulation is the name of the game there. You have to be able to co-regulate and read the social cues like you've said. Does this person want to talk to me? Are they interested? How
Mm-hmm.
do I know? Are they looking at me? Are they talking to me? Are they facing me? Or are they giving me the cold shoulder? Are they looking at their phone? Are they like backing away? Are they giving me one word answers? Then I have to adjust my
Yeah.
communication. Being able to give feedback in the workplace, compliment, critique, compliment, to be able to
Mm-hmm.
accept feedback in the work.
Huge. These are huge
Yeah,
social skills.
they are. And employers are more likely to hire someone with strong soft skills and weak technical skills than they are to hire somebody with strong technical skills. Like this person can do the job,
Mm-hmm.
but they have weak soft skills.
Right.
It's like, there's a lot of training of employers that needs to be done
Yeah.
around neurodivergence. There's a lot of ableism still. I mean, people ask me, should I disclose at work? No. The
Okay.
answer
Explain
is
that.
no,
Why shouldn't they disclose at work? Because of the judgment?
because of the judgment.
Mm,
You have a highly capable person, and oftentimes people who are neurodivergent have like significant strengths. I
right.
mean, there's a reason why neurodivergent people are here because of evolutionary design,
Hmm. I
right?
love that.
And they have been doing their job. They've been doing it effectively. And then they say like, "Hey, I'm autistic. I'm autistic and ADHD. I'm ADHD." And the employer goes, "Well, we're just going to take this off your plate." Right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And then they're kind of like forced out of the workplace or even fired if they ask for, if they disclose a disability and they ask for accommodations. It is just a real icy field,
Yeah.
right? And really, it's like in order to do my job the most effectively, this is what I need. You don't have to disclose a disability. You can be like, I need to wear headphones at work. I need to work from home. I
Yep.
need to have a lamp in my office instead of this overhead fluorescent light, which I can hear buzzing all the time, drives me crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's distracting. And and neurodivergent employees, like neurodivergent people tend to make really good employees.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but there's the social, you know, that is a barrier to
Yeah.
like even gaining employment, retaining employment and advancing. So
Yeah.
these skills are really workforce development skills.
Yeah, I really want parents to believe in how important this is. I mean, listen, I'll tell you on a personal note, when my kids were little, and I'm very, obviously you can tell I'm very comfortable socially. I have a social battery. It runs out, so I'm not always like this, but I am comfortable socially. My mother wasn't, so I almost learned how to connect with people better because she wasn't good at making eye contact. So I kind of said, I'm going to make eye contact all the time. But when my kids were little, even though I thought I can teach some social skills, I knew I wasn't able to because I'm just one person.
Yeah.
And it takes a group of people for them to engage with, for them to learn social skills. And then they can come home and report back what happened. And then I can go, okay, well, maybe this is how it would have been a better way to approach that. So I put my kids into early childhood education very, very young because I wanted them to be social. I did it for my first one who had no siblings. He was my first. So I thought this is really good for him. Be social, learn how to talk to people, to be, to listen, even body language,
Mhm.
right? Like my kid, so he comes home one day and he goes, I think someone said that I'm standing too close to them when I talk. Okay, so let me tell you what a safe distance is, because some people don't have that sense. And that is, again, these are all the things we take for granted, but we have to teach our children and teach them as they get older, because you're right. Then they go into the workforce and it's a different set of rules. You can't have a certain tone with people. All of this is like so important what you teach. I can't stress it enough. But I do want to talk about, since I mentioned something about, warning signs and red flags for parents, this concept of masking.
Mm.
Because I bet you a lot of parents they're not familiar with the term masking. And I want to talk about that because that's how a lot of people go under the radar.
Exactly.
So
Mhm.
can you talk a bit about masking?
Yeah, masking is where they'll like put on their best normal, right? They're like, oh, okay, like if I do these things, it makes me stand out. If I like flap my hands to like disperse my energy, to regulate my body, it makes me stand out. So I'm not going to do that.
Mm,
So it reduces, it's like one data point less that makes them get missed in like a school setting, for example.
right.
And yeah, and masking um is, it's like fitting in, right? But fitting in is not belonging.
No, not at
Mm-mm.
all. But it's fooling everybody, that's for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. I know that in the research it tells us that although both males and females do masking, it's more common and way more intense for females. So
Mhm.
much so that when a female is finished masking for the day, that this leads to like anxiety, exhaustion, burnout, which explains so much about why some females are really just like done
Yeah.
because they've gone to school, they've watched all the other little girls, how they're behaving. They
Mhm.
put on that persona, that
Yep.
mask, and then they come home and they're just like exhausted
Yeah,
and stressed out because they got to do it again the next day.
totally. And then you'll see like the meltdowns, right? The dysregulation. And, that doesn't feel good for anyone
No,
involved.
no. But
And
parents need to know where it's coming from.
yeah, and there's a reason for it, because they've like held it together all day long, and
Right.
then they get home and they're like safe at home,
Yeah.
right? And then like parents are bearing the brunt
Yes.
of that, and it's not fun.
Yeah. In your blog post,
Uh-huh.
and I was like excited to like get here, but why belonging matters more than perfect social skills, which I'm going to put into the show notes. You talk about the importance of belonging and why that feeling is more important than anything else. And in fact, you mentioned that IRL social skills doesn't try to create, and I love this, perfect social performers,
Right.
but rather to create spaces where young people can practice, grow, connect, just so they can feel that sense of belonging.
Yes.
I love that.
The
Can you
feeling,
elaborate on that?
the feeling, how does it feel in your body to be in a space with other people with whom there is a shared empathy?
Mm.
Oh, this is hard for you. It's hard for me too. And
Yeah.
and being able to have a safe space to practice these skills and to be able to learn, like there's a lot of propaganda out there, right? About autism specifically, right? It's
Mm.
in the news. It's, like, don't get me started on that. Um, and really, the propaganda is very demoralizing and scary, right? For both, like teens, young adults, and for parents. And for them to get the messaging that, like, you know what? You don't need to be fixed. You're not broken.
Love that.
You do need to learn some skills so that you can have a rich life. And the skills, oftentimes it's like, oh, everyone else got the memo.
Yeah.
And for them to be like, oh gosh, like, yeah, I'm not for everyone. And everyone's not for me. And that is okay. You don't need to have a lot of friends. It's quality over quantity. Sometimes people think like, oh, these are my friends, and they can even like name them off, but they don't share any common interests with them. So they're really just acquaintances,
Right.
right? They haven't moved them along the trajectory to like make them friends. How do you make a friend?
Yeah.
It's like there's give and take. It takes time, it takes effort. It doesn't just magically happen.
No.
But you're going
Mm.
to increase your chances of making friends if you are in a space with other people who are into what you're into.
Right.
And if you can cultivate those relationships and move them from, casual friend to regular friend to best friend, it takes
Yeah.
time. And there is like, it's not just a feeling, because it is kind of like a science, right?
Yes.
But the feeling in your body is not going to be tense. It's not going to be constricted. It's going to be expansive. And, oftentimes, like, we all mask to a certain extent.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I can't just say exactly how I feel.
Right.
It just, I have
Right.
to,
You would then
oh,
you wouldn't like me at all.
yeah, right. I mean, same here, right? You have to deploy the skills, and you have to use discernment. Okay, I'm in this setting, I'm going to use these skills. I'm in this setting, I'm going to use these skills. I'm in
Right.
this setting, I'm going to use another set of skills. But if you don't have a broad repertoire of skills, you can't deploy the skills.
Correct.
Hmm.
Right. We also call that even a filter. Like,
Yeah.
right? The appropriateness of the statements that come out of your mouth.
Hmm.
Right. I used to say, again, I'm going back to my kids. I used to say, before you say something, I want you to imagine I'm on your shoulder and ask me, what would
Oh,
my mom say if I said this? What would my mom say if I did this? Because I was always chirping in their ear. But at the end of the day, when they're out in the world, they're on their own. But I would say, take a moment before you blurt something out and say, is this going to hurt somebody's feelings? Is
yes.
this going to make somebody feel good?
Hmm.
Like, think before you speak is so powerful, you know? And again, I used to even tone. Tone is important. My mother used to like say, don't use that tone with me. I'd be like, what tone? Right?
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
Kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Totally. It's not like it is. Again, that's where the like explicitness of the instruction comes in. That's also where like some like video modeling can come in. Like
Yeah,
that's something that I totally encourage parents to do because it is highly effective. It's just like athletes will watch like replays of themselves so they can like improve their game.
right.
same with like, okay, so you're like trying to enter a group conversation. You don't just like barge in and start talking about what you want to talk about, right?
Oh
That's
God.
ineffective.
Yeah. But how many adults do that every day, right?
Yeah. I
So,
mean, yeah, so many. And what does it make people feel? It makes people feel bothered. It makes people feel
right.
unfriendly towards you.
Yeah.
Like you have to use like skillful means. And the cool thing is that these skills can be taught, they
Yeah.
can be learned, they can be practiced, they can be improved upon.
And you do all of that.
Yeah.
And so you're saying that you even show through videos, through actual performances, how
Mhm.
to make your way into a group. I
Mhm.
think that's incredible, Mara. Really, I do. I love that.
Thank
I
you.
never even heard of it before.
It really works. I mean, and that's like, I'm not trying to waste anyone's time or money, because it's too precious. I mean, what
Yeah.
I want to do is something that works.
Yeah.
Being
So,
effective is doing what works.
yeah. So what changes would you see? Like I'm looking for like, let's say a real life transformation.
Yeah.
Tell me what you see when you start when an individual starts to learn these social skills. What have you witnessed in the last 3 years?
Oh my gosh, I have so many stories. I mean, from like just being really introverted, really kind of like angry,
Mm,
to realizing that like, oh, I can actually have a conversation because I know how. And that makes things easier in my life. A story of a teen who was really trying to make friends. And she had little scripts that she had written and she was trying to
mm.
do it. And like kids weren't, taking the bait. And then she took our program. And then now, like 3 years later, parents are checking in with me. Parents send me graduation pictures. Parents send
Oh,
me updates. And they're like, she has friends. She has friends. Like she's kind of popular, actually.
oh, I
And
love
she has a
that.
little like list at the door on her bedroom, like text your friends, call your friends, check up on them, follow up with like things that are happening in their life. Like these are skills,
Yes.
right? These are skills. Being able, having a teen say, oh, when I started in your program when I was 12 years old, I basically had no social skills.
Right.
Now I'm 15 and I have more social skills and I want to take your young adult program because I'm going to start dating and I don't know how to do that. And
Oh,
then after that, I want to take your adult program because that's for when I get a job and I
yeah.
need skills, to be able to do that. Like them actually realizing that like they have learned skills, they have made friends, and that they need to continue to grow these skills as they get older.
Definitely. We are always learning to be
Mhm.
how to be social. It's really it's a constant. It's a because we're always like modifying ourselves. And I remember years ago learning how important it was to read the room,
Mhm.
right? So if there was somebody, and with my big ass personality, if I walked into a room full of quieter people, or just even one on one, if it was a one on one coworker, and I came in too loud, I learned to read the room and go, okay, you know what? I'm going to not mask. I'm going
Right.
to mirror. I'm going
Yes.
to mirror the behavior I see and slowly start to reveal, myself to them. And most of the time, people really appreciated the come in quietly if they're quiet, or just that whole expression of meet them where they are. And so all of
Mhm.
that has to be taught. It really does. And then sometimes we have these bad experiences and we shut down and we don't want to be ourselves because we've had someone tell us, I don't like the way you are. And then so now all of a sudden we have to kind of regain our confidence again and find another connection point with maybe another group of people or another individual. And so I think this is all part of it. It's all part of life and the learning.
It is. I mean,
Yeah,
like most problems are social problems. And
100%.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and I love what you said, kind of like on the topic of rejection,
Hmm.
I mean, like our participants have tried, and they've been rejected. I actually had a video that I showed in one of the classes, and it was like of a guy trying to ask a woman out on a date, and she rejected him. And one of the students in the class said, "Oh, and an incel is born." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh
yeah."
God.
Incel means involuntarily celibate.
Oh
And
God.
and I was like, wow, you're totally right. Like, this like sensitive person, with a sensitive nervous system has mustered up the gumption and then has been rejected. And this could be like, from like not even from a romantic standpoint, but even from a friendship standpoint. Like they're, trying and they get rejected. And then they make that be the whole like, oh, I'm not even going to try anymore because rejection is so painful. It's literally life threatening again, because we need to be liked. We don't need to be liked by everyone,
Yeah.
but we need to be liked by some people. And then they're like, oh, I'm just not even going to try because I got rejected and it sucked. But, when they learn the skills, they also learn the skills of how to handle rejection. And
Definitely.
it's realizing that they're not for everyone.
Right. Right. And I've said this before, so I feel like I'm repeating myself again, but I think that one of the reasons why a lot of young adults are so afraid to go out into the world and join programs and go into community environments is because they've had their education system do something to them, traumatize them, make them feel like they're not good enough and they can't make any friends, that they don't want to go into the world as young adults and try again. When really it's a different set of parameters, but having the teaching, the learning of how to do that is so much more comforting and confidence boosting. So we're almost done here, and I always like to leave on a very positive note. So if there's one message that parents can walk away with today, especially if they're worried about their young adults' social skills, what would you like them to know about this?
I would just like them to know that they're not alone. They aren't alone as parents, and their teen or young adult is also not alone in this struggle. And that there is help available, and to just not lose hope, and to maybe join our program because we can help.
I'm definitely going to encourage that they reach out to you. Your information will be in the show notes, how to contact you to learn everything there is about your program. But I've said this, I really want to thank you for the incredible work that you're doing. I have never heard of it before. And I really hope the parents who are listening walk away understanding really how important social skills are, and that what it does, not just for their well-being and their confidence, but for their independence. And that's what we're really trying to help young adults with, is to feel good about themselves, to feel a sense of community and connection. And if they need to learn their social skills, well, now we know where they can go.
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much. I think IRL Social Skills is amazing. And I honestly wish you so much success with the program. Really do.
Thank you so much, Sherry.
Thanks for being here.
Have a good one.
You too. I hope today's episode gave you valuable insights and actionable steps that will help you guide your young adult to launch successfully into adulthood. If you found this topic helpful, feel free to leave a comment and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Leaving a 5-star review helps us reach more parents who are dealing with the same issues. And if there's something you want to ask me, I invite you to join Launch Advice, my weekly publication where I answer one question from parents just like you. It's free advice that will appear in your inbox probably when you need it the most. Just click Launch Advice in the show notes, and don't forget to email me your confidential question. And remember, no one ever said parenting is easy, especially when you're raising an adult. Talk to you soon.